Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Monday Fun Day.
I stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slow tin, he took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpy Trump. It's time to do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah.
You know, I don't know what we are going to do when Donald Trump is no longer president. Because, I mean, can you think of a president that is more entertaining than this one? Whether you like him or not, whether you believe in what he's doing or not, you cannot disagree. Bruh's entertaining. I mean, used to be a time when you wake up on Monday morning and, you know, Sleepy Joe you knew he hadn't done anything all weekend, and you knew if it was any time, you know, before noon on Monday, you knew chances are there wasn't anything new coming out of the White House because, well, Sleepy Joe hadn't quite, you know, gotten out of his crypt yet. But nowadays, man, you never know what's happened over the weekend. And so anyway, we're having a good old time. And I just realized something. I did the wrong theme. Today's not Monday, today's Tuesday. How did I make that mistake? My bad.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your sour cream.
There you go. Yeah, we actually are going to be having Chipotle bowls instead of tacos. So I guess if we decided that we wanted to use flour, I could make flour tacos out of my Chipotle bowl, but that's usually kind of a burrito bowl kind of thing. In any case, we're having a good time here. Obviously, I was a day behind most of today. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, welcome to Taco Tuesday, where we celebrate the diversity of food here in these United States and the unique way in which America makes anything, no matter where it comes from, uniquely American. And there's nothing more exemplary of that than the taco. Anyway, we're having a good time here. It's going to be me. It's going to be you. We're going to have a great time. So let's go ahead and get into it and start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with the folks over at Hitman Industries. They make rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at any length at hitmanindustries.net. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly, otherwise known as the conscience of the Republican Party. You got to find out why. Just go to cragop.org. That's cragop.org, and well, find out why. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. Just go to hawgholsters.com and get your hog holster today. By the way, make sure you use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word. Just like it is right up there, you'll get your hog holster on discount today. And then finally, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun, that would be at uscombatgear.com. Now, once again, this show is live. If you're watching this program between 3 p.m. Pacific or on 3 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Eastern, you're watching the program live, which means we want to hear from you. We want your comments. I'm looking right over here, and I am following up on whatever it is that you have to say, as long as it's interesting. Let us know where you're watching us from. Let us know what you think about the program. In fact, if you disagree, that's probably the most interesting thing that you can do, because then, well, we have the ability to mock you.
Oh, wow, is that a mockingbird?
Man, is a mockingbird? Another mockingbird?
That's right. We will mock you. Not because we want to be mean, but because, well, it's fun. Mostly for me. But I think the audience does kind of appreciate sometimes when we do an appropriate mocking of those who tend to disagree with us. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's program. And we're going to start here with, well, now that all the hubbubaloo there in Minnesota has kind of quieted down, Homeland Security is back, and they're back looking into fraud in a number of entities and agencies there in Minnesota. Specifically, though, this time, they're looking at these daycare centers or these child care centers, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. They're looking into fraud in those particular agencies. And well, here's the story from Fox News as they are reporting on it.
Had a photographer there at the daycare since this morning, capturing video of those federal agents just going in and out of the building, collecting evidence as part of the DOJ's fraud investigation in Minnesota. Take a look at this video here. Sources tell Fox that federal agents are raiding about 22 businesses across Minneapolis this morning, and sources say many of them are tied to Somali-owned operations. All of this comes after that viral YouTube video from Nick Shirley. It was back in December. In that video, he visited different child care centers, and you'll remember they were either closed or there were just no children inside, despite receiving state child care funding. Now, the location that you're looking at right now, it's the Quality Learning Center. This is the daycare. It went viral. It blew up on social media because of a sign outside with learning that was literally misspelled.
That's right. That was the Quality Learning Center. Yeah. So anyway, so they're following up on a lot of this information. They're following up to check it out and see, well, how many of these folks are, well, trying to see out what's going on, trying to figure out where the money's going, trying to make sure that they are not defrauding the U.S. government. This is a story over at Reuters. It says U.S. agents raid 22 Minnesota sites in social welfare fraud probe. It says here, U.S. federal and state law enforcement agencies searched more than 20 locations in Minnesota on Tuesday as part of investigations into fraud and social welfare programs, an area of intense focus by President Donald Trump's administration. FBI and Homeland Security investigations executed 22 search warrants, mostly at businesses, as part of an ongoing fraud investigation, the Justice Department said. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is leading a fraud task force at Trump's behest, said the administration will be relentless in exposing these fraudsters wherever they may be hiding. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat who lost his bid for U.S. Vice President as the 2024 running mate of presidential candidate Kamala Harris, said in a statement that, quote, today's raids by state and federal law enforcement happened because our state agencies caught irregular behavior and reported it. That's how the system is supposed to work. And our agencies will keep at it as long as the fraudsters are put behind bars. Now, what's interesting about this is that he had no idea. They had no idea. Well, let me clarify. I can't say they had no idea that these fraudsters were going on. The reality is whistleblowers for years had been reporting these issues. And the result, his administration has basically threatened those individuals with going after them with civil rights violations for discriminating against these entities because they were Somalian. So I'm trying to figure this out. If your agencies caught it, if you knew it was going on, why didn't you go in and raid and investigate it? I'll tell you why. Because, well, these folks are also donors to his campaign. And he didn't want, because these folks are significant contributors, significant activists within the Democratic Party, they didn't want to offend the wrong people. The only reason you know about this is because a kid named Nick Shirley pulled public documents, public records, and went and investigated and put out a video that embarrassed your HHS department, that embarrassed you, Governor, And then on top of that, you had whistleblowers, people who've worked within your government, who have said, yeah, we tried to tell them, and they flat out, they either ignored us, they either ignored all of the warnings, or they threatened us and said that if we continue going down this road, you're going to bring up discrimination charges and charge them with racism. And now all of a sudden you want to say, yeah, well, hey, look what we found. Yeah, that's the biggest, broadest we. That's a bigger, broader we than is really deserved, Mr. Walls. Definitely this is stuff that happened on your watch, stuff that you ignored, that your administration ignored. And once again, maybe it wasn't you directly. Maybe it was people on your behalf. But they did it on your behalf, Governor. And so therefore you are the one that is going to be held accountable for this. And I got no problem with that. I got no problem with you being held accountable, Mr. Governor. But don't act like you did anything, because you didn't. You did not discover this. This was discovered, once again, by a citizen journalist who decided that he was tired of the lies that, you were telling. By the way, this was stuff that was actually brought up. Some of this was stuff that, by the way, that was brought up during the campaign that, by the way, no one in the mainstream media would talk about because they didn't want to undermine your chances of becoming the vice president. Yeah, no. As far as I'm concerned, this is as much a failure of the mainstream media there in Minnesota as it is the government there in Minnesota. And y'all will be held to account, at least as far as the federal dollars go, because you were the ones responsible with overseeing, with the oversight, in particular the fiscal oversight. And if you didn't do your job, well then, y'all ought to be held accountable. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that one. Also in the news, we have the former head of the FBI, Mr. James Comey, has been indicted once again, but not for the same thing. Check it out.
As you heard from the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that. Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake, especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else. As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months. These cases take time. Our investigators work methodically. They are career agents, career prosecutors who work these matters. They call the balls and strikes in the field as they see fit pursuant to the facts of the case and the law. They took that information and made a presentment to a grand jury, a jury of peers in the district in which the alleged crime took place. And that grand jury spoke, and that grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against James Comey.
Okay, once again, this being reported by CNN exclusive. Former FBI Director James Comey indicted over alleged threat against Trump. Former FBI Director James Comey was indicted Tuesday over a photo of seashells that officials said threatened President Donald Trump, marking the administration's second attempt to prosecute one of the largest political opponents, 3 sources told CNN. The indictment was brought in the Eastern District of North Carolina. An arrest warrant was issued for Comey by the court clerk. Comey faces charges of making a threat against the president and transmitting a threat in interstate commerce, according to court documents. The charges come with a prison sentence of up to 10 years. Quote, he publicly posted a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in the pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States, the indictment says. Trump has long pressed for political adversaries to face charges, including former FBI director he sees as a key leader in the perceived effort to weaponize the justice system against him. All right, now I'm just going to be real with you, and I know y'all. Don't get me wrong. Nothing makes me feel better than to see James Comey behind bars or in handcuffs. And I realize that they took this evidence, they took it to a grand jury, and they got an actual indictment. Unless there is something that has been released, something that's available that has not been made to the public, that would further inform this particular situation, I'm not seeing why. I'm not seeing the crime here. To be honest with you, I'm just not seeing. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe y'all know something. I don't know. Maybe in the chat, tell me there's something I'm missing. But freedom of speech in and of itself gives me. But he's not. I don't know. I think you have to make a whole lot of assumptions in order to get there. I think you need some evidence that supports those assumptions that I don't see. But once again, I wasn't on the grand jury. I wasn't privy to all of the information. I remember what went on at the time. I didn't hear anything else that came out at the time. And I'm just not seeing anything here that would lead me to say, yeah, this is worthy of an indictment. The thing that bothers me about this is that if this is the best that we've got, then just let it go. I mean, okay, I get it. We messed up. He lied. He flat out lied to Congress. And because Pam Bondi messed up when she appointed her U.S. attorney, it wasn't handled correctly. That indictment wasn't handled correctly, and now the statute of limitations is gone. I'm sorry, President, I get it. You want to indict him, but you blew it. When I say you blew it by appointing Pam Bondi, because she blew it. And I don't know what to tell you. I know you want to get him, but is this it really? I mean, is this really what you want to hang your hat on? He did something which is stupid and offensive, but should it really be illegal? I've seen people do a lot worse. Online. I mean, think about this. You had one comedian who had a bloodied head of the president, right? Like it had been chopped off. You're going to go after that person, right? You're going to go after those folks who produced that play where Donald Trump or the president, where you get stabbed. Are you going to go after them? I mean, come on. Mr. President, you don't have to kick every barking dog. And I get it. This particular barking dog bit you once. But you know what? You should have handled it then. You should have handled it the right way. You should have been prepared. And I'm sorry, this ain't it. I think this is just a distraction. And when I say it's a distraction, it's not a distraction. It's a distraction from you. I mean, it's a distraction from you being able to focus on the things you need to be able to be focused on, from what the Justice Department should be focusing on. You should be focusing on making sure our right to keep and bear arms are protected. You should be making sure that criminals are being removed from our country or being removed from our streets. Those are the things that you ought to be focusing on. That's what DOJ ought to be focusing on. Undoing how these rules that they've written that are basically legislating from the executive branch. Those are the things that you need to have your DOJ focusing on, not this sort of stuff. And I'm not saying there aren't people who did things that are worthy of indictment, that are worthy of going to jail. There are. I just don't include this among them. I just don't, because here's the problem: this is clearly a political prosecution, and then when the next one comes around and it's a legitimate reason, it's only going to be seen as a political prosecution. And you're going to be undermining your own case by bringing forth weak cases like this. And let me clarify. I don't want to call it weak because I haven't seen the evidence. Like I said, once again, I will hold out say that maybe there's some stuff that I don't know. But I can say this: I ain't seeing it. And this one right here was a bad move for the president in my eyes. Here's another bad move, and this is a bad move not for the president, but for Democrats who are looking to use the attempted assassination of Donald Trump as a reason to go after, quote unquote, as the guy from Minnesota called it, military grade weapons. Now, I have no idea what a quote unquote military grade weapon is. A knife is a military grade weapon. A handgun is a military grade weapon. A shotgun is and a fork is a military grade weapon. I'm still trying to figure out what dude is going after. Anyway, this is from our friend Mr. Cam Edwards over at Bearing Arms. It says here, Pennsylvania Democrat uses Trump assassination attempt to ban on military grade guns. In the days since the California man armed with a pump action shotgun and a .38 caliber handgun pushed through the security perimeter at the White House Correspondents' Dinner with the intent of assassinating President Trump and other officials, many Democrats and their media allies have downplayed or outright ignored the suspect's leftist political leanings and have instead focused exclusively on demanding more gun control. Pennsylvania Representative Malcolm Kenyatta took his argument to X, where he did have the response that an anti-gun Democrat was hoping for. Ban all lethal loopholes, restrict ownership of military-grade weapons. And that's how he says, he's saying we need a ballroom. And that's a ban on all lethal loopholes and restrict ownership of military-grade weapons. The interesting thing is, and what I like about what X put here is, as a community note, the weapons used were legally purchased, Mossberg Maverick 88 pump-action shotgun and an Amscore Precision .38 caliber semi-automatic handgun, common civilian firearm, not military-grade weapons typically targeted. So that just goes to show you how ignorant some folks are, right? In that their biggest goal here is, well, they're not interested in actually solving a problem. They will use whatever the problem is in order to push whatever their agenda is. And that is, well, let's just say that's kind of sad, because in the end, this guy had issues. And by the way, I'm going to continue to say this. Yes, they ignore his political leanings. And the only reason his political leanings matter is, and this is the interesting thing about this, by all indications, other than the fact that this guy did what he did, he is not outside of the Democratic mainstream, is he? Except that he acted violently. I mean, we've seen polls that have basically denoted that a significant percentage of, in particular, young Democrats or young left-leaning people believe in political violence, that political violence is an appropriate way for them to handle political differences. So he's not far outside of the mainstream, the Democratic mainstream. He's just acted on it. He believed it, and he acted on his beliefs. Now, I would tell you, go and ask folks. Do you believe that violence, that political violence, is okay? And there are some people who say, well, it's okay against Donald Trump. They'll say, well, it's okay, in this case or that case. Because here's the thing. For me, once it gets to violence, it's not political anymore. Now we're at a point where once you start getting to violence, we're talking about armed conflict. I believe that one of the best things about our form of government is that we have the ability to disagree. We should have the ability to engage in debate in the public square, and let the best man win. And whatever side wins, that's going to be the rules for now. But by the way, if I lose, I'm going to keep fighting to make sure that my point comes across and that hopefully I gain more support for my perspective, as I would expect the other side to do. So if I were the one who won, I would consistently be making the argument, because guess what? I know the other side is trying to make that argument too. That's how public debate and public discourse and public policy is supposed to work. Every time they propose some sort of a gun ban or some sort of gun control and it fails, they bring it right back up. They don't make any more compelling arguments, but they bring it back up anyway. Let's have the discussion. Let's have the debate. And go from there. Anyway, this is this also goes along the whole lines of, never let a tragedy go to waste. Never let a good tragedy go to waste. Yeah, that falls in that whole realm of discussion as well. Speaking of that, Ron DeSantis reveals newly drawn maps. So these are the proposed maps that they're looking for that they're looking to institute there in Florida. And Ron DeSantis was not open to this idea originally, but I guess with everything the Democrats have done, he's decided, well, now it's time. Let's go here. It says Ron DeSantis was once the future of the Republican Party, a battle-tested conservative twice elected as governor of Florida. Then Donald Trump steamrolled him on his way to the White House. Now, this is the Associated Press trying to demoralize or denigrate Ron DeSantis. Not really. I don't know what the point of that first paragraph was, except that. Anyway, now, more than 2 years after Ron DeSantis ended his presidential campaign and endorsed Trump, the governor has called a special legislative session on redistricting and other issues that will put him back in the national spotlight and maybe remind Republicans that he could lead the party one day. So let's see here. I'm trying to find the maps that he's proposing. So they want to get more Republican seats. Are you telling me you're not going to show the map in this story? Okay, I think it was another story I was looking at where they actually showed the maps. Okay, let's do this. We're going to go over here and we're going to put in Florida maps. And let's see, news. New Florida. Okay, here's the Newsweek article on it. There it is right there, the new maps. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Look at this. All right. So these are the new maps that supposedly that they've drawn. And in this, Ron DeSantis unveils new Florida congressional map, adding 4 GOP seats, creating 24 and only 24 to 4 Democrat splits. So I guess right now it's 20-8. And wow, look at these little itty bitty Democratic districts. This is hilarious. But here's the thing that I will say. Their districts are compact, right? If you look at it now, I'm sure if you get a little closer, it may look a little funky, but I don't see any of these Democratic districts or any of these Republican districts that are like streams into like nothing like the Georgia, the Virginia maps. Hold on, let's pull up the Virginia maps. Virginia maps. Virginia maps. Yeah, I spelled maps wrong, I know. Virginia congressional. So there's the old Virginia map. Wait, where's the new Virginia map? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so that's the old, this one right here. This is the, let me go to, let's see. Type in new Virginia map. New Virginia congressional map. So let's look at it. All right. There you go. So that's the new congressional map right there. So that's the new congressional map right there, right? How they've basically drawn the districts and drawn them kind of funky. And then you got this one Republican district. And you see right here, and you guys don't see my cursor. So there's this one little thing right here where it's like a small corridor and then it opens up into another area. But that's not nearly, that's a lot better than, that's worse than what was being proposed for the Democrats. Where did I lose that one? Oh, here we go. Yeah, it was here in the Newsweek article. Then that one right there. So their maps are compact. Now, the reason why their maps are so compact is, number one, geographically, Florida is much larger than Virginia, much larger. But also, it's important to note that those cities are a lot more compact. So Anyway, this is going to be very, very interesting because if this were to pass, this would basically undo what they did in Virginia. So Virginia gained 4 seats. This would supposedly give Republicans 4 more seats. Now, I'll go back to this and I will say this once again. As mad as Republicans may get, I mean, as much as we may want to do this, let us not forget, we started this fight. When I say we, I mean Texas Republicans, at the behest of President Trump, were the ones who started this. They were. Trump asked them to, and they did. And so, you know, I don't like this, but then again, I can't blame anybody but my party for this going on. We started it. For every action, there is a reaction. And now Virginia's about to learn that the exact same thing. Virginia's about to learn that you guys decided to draw districts like that. Well, then guess what? The Republicans are going to do the same exact thing. What you're going to wind up happening is you're going to have congressional delegations from states that are going to be completely and utterly not representative of their populations. And that's the worst part about all of this, is that you are not going to have fair representation. You're just not. You're not going to have fair representation. And, you know, like California Republicans are going to be dependent on other state Republicans to protect their rights at the federal level because we're not going to have enough of our own representatives there. It is sad that it is like that, but that is the political world in which we now live. Hopefully things will change. I'm not going to hold my breath, but hopefully things will change. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word. Get your hog holster today. All of our parting shots today are going to be brought to you by the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. And here's the first one here. Trump Omar argue over whether it's 2 Corinthians or 11 Corinthians. Okay, that's funny right there. That's funny. I don't care who you are. Yeah, you might have heard that she talked about World War XI in a quote from earlier. Yeah, anyway, funny stuff, funny stuff. Media still stumped as to the motive of gunmen with manifesto titled, "Why I'm Going to Kill Donald Trump." And you notice the source there, right? That's right, CNN. The Babylon Bee's official recap of all 11 world wars. That's funny. We're not going to go into the whole recap, but you guys can look that up yourself. I was hoping Mike would be here because I wanted to share this one with him. Struggling New York Mets to start Mr. Met at third base. You know, he's a big Mets fan. And then finally, after failed assassination, Democrats observe customary 5-minute pause on calling Trump Hitler. Because we know that's pretty much the only thing they've got going for them. Call him Hitler and, you know, go from there. Call him Hitler and repeat. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with folks over at Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly, conscience of the Republican Party at cragop.org. We've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. And then finally, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun, that would be at uscombatgear.com. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Hasta mañana.